The check-in line was packed, but no one seemed to notice the elderly woman in a simple dress holding a boarding pass that shook in her hands. When she tried to ask for help, the clerk scoffed loudly and said, "Ma'am, if you can't even read, go back to your farm. This isn't a school for illiterates." People laughed. Some started recording. The old lady lowered her head as if trying to shrink and disappear. What no one there knew is that this woman had spent her whole life raising a boy who dreamed of flying, and that boy now owned the entire airline. Esther was 76 and had never set foot in an airport. She raised 3 children working as a maid, selling cakes on the street and sewing uniforms to survive. The youngest, Daniel, she barely saw grow up. He worked since he was a kid, studied at night, and promised that one day he would pull his mother out of poverty. Now she was traveling for the first time to visit her newborn grandson. But because she couldn't read, she got confused by the QR code, and the clerk turned that into the biggest humiliation of her life, and fate would place someone in that scene, someone who did not tolerate injustice. The young check-in clerk, impatient and full of arrogance, looked at the old woman as if she were nothing but a nuisance. "Come on, Grandma. This is basic. Everyone knows how to read a boarding pass," she said, rolling her eyes. Esther tried to explain, her voice low and shaky. "Sweetheart, I never learned to read, but my boy told me I just had to show this paper." Before she could finish, the clerk snatched the pass from her hand and raised her voice. "Hey, someone help this lady here. She wants to board but can't even read her own name." Some people laughed. A couple shook their heads, mumbling, "If you don't know how to travel, stay home." Esther's face burned. She clutched her small purse against her chest as if it were a shield. "You don't have to talk to me like that," she whispered, fighting back tears. The clerk sighed, annoyed. "Step aside. I'll help the people who can take care of themselves. Let's move the line." Pushed back by everyone's stare, Esther took a step away. Everything about her simple clothes, wrinkled skin, calloused hands, seemed to be turned into a joke. But a man in a blue suit, with a full-access badge and sharp eyes, had been watching from a distance. He stopped in the middle of the hall, took off his glasses slowly, and pressed his lips together. His assistant tried to call him, "Mr. Daniel, the meeting with the investors." He raised his hand firmly. "Later. First, I'm going to take care of my mother." Daniel walked through the terminal with firm, determined steps. Some passengers recognized the airline's CEO, the man behind the company's biggest international routes, but no one knew that the trembling, simple woman at the side of the line was his mother. When he got close, Esther still hadn't seen him. She was staring at the floor, trying to hide her tears. "Mom," he said, his voice low but steady. She lifted her face slowly, her eyes filled with relief and almost with guilt. "My son, I'm so sorry, I couldn't do it," she whispered, showing him the crumpled pass. Daniel took a deep breath, turned to the clerk and asked politely but firm, "Were you the one who helped my mother?" The clerk's eyes widened. I didn't know she was your mother, sir. I'm so sorry." But Daniel didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "You shouldn't treat anyone like that, whether she's my mother or not," he said. "Sir, you understand. The line, 'I understand respect.' That's it." The silence grew heavy. He took the boarding pass from his mother's hand, placed an arm around her shoulders, and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. "This woman is the reason I am standing here today. If you're all flying safely, it's because she taught me to work and never give up." Murmurs spread among the passengers. Some who had laughed now looked away. The clerk swallowed hard. Daniel stepped a bit closer to her. "You'll be reassigned, not as punishment, but for training. If you work with people, you have to know how to treat them like people." She lowered her head, burning with shame. Carefully, Daniel guided his mother toward the VIP counter. Staff members made room, some apologized, others offered water. But he refused anything special. "We just need you to treat my mother like you'd treat any other passenger." Esther was still trembling. My son, I ruined your day. I messed up your meeting. He held her hands, the same hands that had sewn and scrubbed for a lifetime to feed 3 children. Mom, nothing in this world is more urgent than you. Never think you're a burden. Never. She bit her lip, overwhelmed. For the first time, that huge place didn't feel hostile. Not while her son was there. A supervisor came over, almost running. Mr. Daniel, we've prepared priority boarding for her, and we're sorry about what happened. We're already correcting everything. Daniel nodded without arrogance. I don't want special treatment, just respect. The supervisor smiled nervously. As they walked to the gate, people stepped aside. Some even clapped quietly. The clerk who had humiliated Esther wiped tears of shame behind the counter. Esther then whispered, I just wanted to see my grandson. I didn't know it would cause so much trouble. Daniel chuckled, emotional. Trouble? Mum, you worked your whole life for us. Now it's my turn. He pulled her into a tight hug. Right there in the middle of the airport, the millionaire looked nothing like a CEO, just a boy grateful to still have his mother. And so they went onto the plane, hand in hand. When Esther finally walked through the gate, an employee smiled and said, Have a wonderful trip, Mrs. Esther. You truly deserve it. She squeezed her son's hand before stepping onto the jet bridge. Daniel, you make me so proud. His eyes filled with tears. I'm just giving back a little of everything you gave me, Mom. As she walked forward, amazed by every detail, Daniel stayed there, watching the woman who, even without reading a single book, had written the most important story of his life. A story of love, sacrifice, and dignity. Back in the terminal, what had started as mockery turned into a heavy, ashamed silence. And for the first time, that simple old lady felt seen. She felt respected. She felt big. And you watching this story right now, if it were your mother being humiliated, would you have the courage to defend her in front of everyone? Tell us in the comments. What does your mother mean to you?